live here pretty soon. It looks like we're live right now, man.
It says it's live.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream. This is my buddy John Dyer. How you doing, John?
Good. How you doing, Bill?
Doing good. John owns Top Dog Canine in Virginia Beach, Virginia, on the east
coast,
east side.
About as far as you can go. Hit water.
Wait. Look at. So John and I, man, we attended the Napopo Silver, and we attended Gold together as well, man. So
correct.
What a cool thing, huh?
It was, boy, mind-boggling.
Yeah, what a freaking. So, what? How long you been training dogs for, John?
Gosh, I hate to date myself. Over 40 years. I started at Fort Bragg when I was a soldier in the Army back in 1978. It's a long time ago.
Do you have any headphones by chance?
I don't.
Okay.
Sound funny?
Yeah, we're good. I just didn't know if it might.
I can adjust my audio if we need to.
Okay, cool. You know what year I was born?
Probably the same time I was training dogs.
I was 2 when you started training dogs. I was born in 1976.
Oh, there you go. That's actually when I went in the Army, 1976. You were born when I went in.
There you go, man. And before that, dude, I remember when I was a little boy, I would ask my mom, I would say, where was I before I was in your belly?
We've all had thoughts.
Yeah, I always had like to think that, where did we come from? And so anytime that I hear people like literally training dogs as long as I've been alive, I'm just like, man, where was I?
Well, I actually wish I was in your position, you and Adrian and Jake and all the youngsters, to have the knowledge you have now at your age. If I would have had that then, it would have been a world of difference to me in the way I train dogs. I came up through the old Yank and Crank Schutzen guys that came over from Germany to Fort Bragg, trained our canines there. That's how I learned. And after the Army, I went to the University of North Carolina in Charlotte, and I trained dogs while I was in school to get through there. And around Lake Norman and Lake Wiley, a lot of the well-to-do neighborhoods, and I still use the Yank and Crank method. I got very good results, but nothing like I see now with the styles I'm using and the techniques I'm using now. They were very flat dogs. They did what they were supposed to do, but it was a whole different thing. And like I said, if I could have learned then what you guys already know now, you got the world in front of you. I mean, you're when you get my age, you'll be taking over the world with this stuff. I'm at the end of my career, and I learned to competition now, which makes me happy and I love doing. But if I could have done this a lot earlier, it would have made a big difference, huge difference.
Well, I see people that are even younger than me, like Salvatore and these guys that are coming up that are learning this stuff, and my kudos to them, dude. And I was just commenting on Larry Crone's post today about young hungry trainers, man, and how much I love them. And I've been helping out a bunch of them. Actually, you just were right before I got on with you. I was chatting with one in Michigan, I believe, and helping her with a case that she has. And if you are a young trainer, call us, call me, call John, and I offer my time. And if you do want to do like kind of a case study, I definitely will. I do charge for that. So it's something that absolutely we should, I think, be fairly compensated for that knowledge that's going to help you advance your career. And so that's always available too. And reach out to those people and the people that you see. And that's what I that's how I found Bart. And man, it was a dream of mine to go through this Napopo and then meeting Michael as well. And seeing that world-class facility. What do you think of that place?
Oh, it's incredible. I built one here and mimicked her facility. And pretty down to if you came in there, you'd think you're walking into Jackie's facility, just a mini me of her facility. Mine's only about 1,800 square feet, where hers is probably 5,000 square feet. But I did a really good job of trying to repeat what I had there so that I could continue with the things that we did there. And I'm really happy with it. I've got a couple of really good trainers working for me, Curtis Graham, and I had Brittany Salinger over here, and we're all kind of working on the stuff that I came away from there with, and really, really enjoy it. NePoPo is a lot different. I guess depending on where you're at and what you listen to on social media. Like you said, you were helping people before. There's so many tools out there now that we can help people with that we didn't used to have. And I came into NePoPo by accident. Didn't know anything about it. I was very happy with yank and crank method and training the way I did. It was a harder, harsher method, but I got results. The dogs did well. And then one day, probably 12 years ago, one of my nearest and dearest friends, her name's Paige Schreiber, and also one of the finest trainers I know. I hope she's kind of retired in the Keys right now. I'm hoping she'll get back into competition, but she really inspired me, and I've always loved watching her work. She probably trained 5 or 6 different dogs and different breeds to Schutzen-3, and she had her own line of American Bulldogs. She went to PDC and PSA1, but she called me one day out of the blue and said, "Hey, I got this guy. I'm going to see Bart Bellin, and someone dropped out. Would you be willing to fill in for that person?" I've never heard of this dude, but sure, I'd love to go. And it ended up being the old NePoPo school. It was a retreat on a farm in Maryland that Morris Lindsay and his wife hosted. It was, I think, 10 handlers, 10 dogs for 4 or 5 days with Bart and Michael just alone doing this. And that's how I got introduced. That was that far back. And when I first went to it, we did very similar to what we did. You had a day of theory and kind of going through how everything went. And that's the first time I'd ever seen a clicker. I thought clickers were for sissies. I said, what the fuck is a clicker? What am I going to do with a clicker? And what is this guy showing me a clicker for? And within 2 days, I said, man, I wish I'd been using a clicker years ago. He just taught me new things that I never dreamed of, and ways to mark things, ways to make things effective, way to make your dog happy when it's doing what you want it to do.
Way to make the dog think it's their idea.
There's the key. And that's kind of the difference between, I went through the old NePoPo there on that retreat. So it was still mechanical, moving them into position, and then the rest of the normal NePoPo. And that's the nice thing about Bart and Michael is they've evolved this. They're always evolving. They're always looking for better ways, better things to do. So they've evolved it to the new NePoPo, which we use operant for everything. We shape everything, and we know that makes a much stronger dog.
Yes.
Now there are still applications for the old NePoPo. If you get a really strong Dutch dog, that's very handler heavy, you're not going to use shaping on that dog. You're going to use the old style. You're going to bring it into position and do it, and then apply the NePoPo system to it.
Right.
The thing I loved about it was that, you're the architect of your own system. I don't care if you're a pet dog trainer, a sport dog person, a service dog person. This system works for everyone. I still use, when I came up, it was Godfrey Dildye and Bernard Flink that I, worked with, and Ivan, people like that. And I still use a lot of those things that I learned, and things I learned from the Dutch people are just, wonderful in the things I compete in APA and KMPV program. I use all those things that I've learned from everyone. I just use NePoPo to make those things consistent and happen every time I ask them to, and the dog's going to enjoy doing it. Yeah. So you take NePoPo and apply it to anything. I don't care what it is, and make those things consistent and make the dog enjoy it. And the difference I see in my dogs now from when I was doing yank and crank and harder style is, the ears are up, the tail's up, they're forward, they're enjoying what they're doing. And like you said, they think it's their idea, everything that you're teaching them. When you start doing the operant and you're shaping everything at the beginning, you're making a stronger dog. And I can't say enough about it. I preach it, but I also walk it. I use it in my competitions with APA and KMPV. I've got some great dogs. I've got a great friend in Kees Planken over in the Netherlands that owns Keppa Kennels, which is where I get my dogs. You saw some of my dogs at the Gold School, and
doesn't Valerie have one? We got some people here. Let me go through the comments here. Abis, we're doing good, man. How are you? Tosh is from New Zealand. Valerie's on with us right now. Hi, John. Hi,
Valerie.
And then hello, John. Ziva, aka Little Red.
Yes, she's got Red's got a lot of fire in her.
I've been copying this space myself as well. I've been copying Jackie's wonderful facility as well.
Jackie is phenomenal and one of my mentors. That's I just can't say enough good things about her and her family. I love them all.
Yeah, there's Rachel. She says hello. And Yoris, my man, I want Yoris to come back on here.
Yeah, Yoris is the guy.
Dutch, Jesus, or Julius. Caesar says the Belgians are the bravest.
They're also, in my opinion, some of the best in breeding and in dog knowledge that I've ever met in my life. And I want to make it real clear: those dogs you saw out there. A great dear friend of mine, Kees Planken, has been breeding dogs for 40 years. He's like a hidden gem in the Netherlands. And I became good friends with him through another guy that lives out by Jackie, Dave Kreider, who, by the way, has some of the best frozen semen of the oldest Dutch lines. He's probably got the biggest collection of anyone in the world. And he's right out here local. But anyway, I want to make sure everyone understands those dogs that I have out there, Kees and Keppa Kennels bred them. I bring in the female pregnant and I raise them in the Nipopo system and then move them out or train them, or I compete with them. But he's the actual breeder. He's the brains behind this. He always comes to me and says, here's, and everything he has are PH1 certified dogs. And he'll say, here's the female you're getting. Here's an opportunity. Here's 4 or 5 studs that would be good matches. I always look at them. I research them very well, but I always default to him because he's the best at it. And that's a nice thing about me being as old as I am. I don't have to know everything. I've got great resources. And if I need something to know about genetics, I don't have to go and learn it. I got people like Emily Hawk and Chris Smith, great genetics people. They know this stuff backwards and forwards. They study it. I'll ask them if I need it. If I need a good breeding, I go to Kees and say, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I want brought forward in these lines. He knows the parents, the grandparents, and the grandparents. He's seen them work, knows what they bring through. And when he sends these dogs to me, he has a lot of strict tests that I have to do in like 5, 6, 7 weeks on premises, off premises. I keep charts on, do they retrieve copper? Do they retrieve keys? Do they retrieve bald? Are they good on a flirt pole? All these different things. I have to rate all them. And that's how he kind of figures out what would be good for his breeding program, what brings those traits through. I'm learning so much from this guy. I talk to him weekly. I talked to him today for a long time. I can't say enough about them.
I would love to talk to him.
Oh, he's just phenomenal.
Yeah,
if I would have known, I bred 10 years ago some German Shepherds.
That's right. William George says your network is your net worth. That's what he learned from me. Yeah,
it really truly is.
That is proof right there. What John says.
I was lucky because I imported my dogs from Hungary. They came out of a guy that has Happy Kennels over in Hungary. He's on the internet a lot. He had Jabina Gabor, which was a national champion there. So I brought in some good lines and did pretty good. But I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had no purpose of what I wanted to bring through in those lines. I've learned that now, talking weekly to him. What do you really want here? What are you trying to do? Then this is what you need, or that's what you need.
Can you give me an example, John, of like something that might be like a function of something that might be even counterintuitive for?
Yeah, like if I'm looking at a set of puppies and I've got 8 puppies there, I start giving them these tests that they give me to give. Now, these tests, you got to understand, are geared towards KMPV program, but you can take these tests and gear them towards a service dog program or a pet dog, whatever you want. But for instance, for the KMBV program for the exercises to get certified as a Dutch police dog, the dog needs to be able to retrieve articles in case the suspect drops something. It needs to be able to sniff it, find it, and bring it back to you. It needs to, and those could be keys, they could be bullet casings, they could be anything, a lot of metal, things like that. They need to, so that's one of the tests we do. We'll throw a piece of copper out. Do they bring that back to us? You know, do they go and investigate it? Successive approximation, we give them points for that. We basically rate everything. Did they go out to it? That's a point. Did they sniff it? That's a point. Did they pick it up? That's a point. Did they bring it back to me? That's a point. You know, so you could have a total of these. Then we may roll a ball. You know, we may roll something with noise. We may throw keys out there. And we basically rate all these dogs on those points. Do they have those attributes to, for instance, we'll also have a flirt pole. Do they grab, they call it a sausage. We call it a little tug here. But do they grab it? Do they, you know?
Is it just a leather, or what is on the end of it?
It's a little small tug, and that we have.
Oh, like a little juke roll?
Yeah, and we'll have a little flirt pole. Bring that around. Do they go after it? Do they come back? You know, bring it back to you. These are things that are very important to them. Do they go out and get it? Do they bring it back to you? Because these are all things they have to do in the KMBV police program once they're an adult. So they need to see those things. It don't mean they're not going to pass that program. It just means that they're going to pass those genetics on to the next generation stronger, that they'll bring that back. You may have one of them that doesn't do any of those. You're not going to use them in your breeding program, but may score one of the highest things on your PH1 test. And the guys that bring back articles, retrieve, and things like that may not be the best biters, you know, but they look for specific things in their breeding program that they want brought through to make sure that they have the best chance possible to have that dog that's going to provide what they want.
Well, you want to know what age do you do these discrimination tests?
I start them at 5 weeks. We do them at 5, and we start doing them about every other day. Or you got to look at the litter. Sometimes they develop a little slower, and I'll start at 6 weeks, but I'll do 3 tests every other day in my training room in a aquarium. I use an X pen, and I have it probably 10 feet long, probably 4 feet wide. My seat's on the end, and whatever I'm going to do is in front of them. So it's a controlled environment. I'll do that and do it like every other day for about 3 days. Then I take them out of that environment, take them over to like the couple acres down on my neighbors by the road, and do those same tests with cars running by and all that. Because you'll see things change. The first day to the second day, you'll see a lot of them get better. The third day, they get even better. Then when you kind of throw that wrench in there, take them out of their environment and move them out somewhere they're not comfortable with, they don't know, and there's cars going by, there's noises, it changes everything. Then you'll see the ones that are the most stable, that'll retain those characteristics they had stronger in the earlier tests. And I really love the way they test. These are not my tests. These are their tests. And I keep them charted for them, and I let him know who did what and what's going to happen. But I've learned so much watching that, and it helps me pick better dogs out of that litter also for a particular thing that I want to happen. You know,
yeah.
If I was doing service dogs, I may want a dog that's going to tug on a tug that I have tied to a drawer. That may be something that I put in there. You can adapt these tests to whatever kind of dog or whatever thing you're doing. So
right. Even pet world like me,
they can go right to whatever you want in your dogs to bring through, but it'll give you kind of a gauge. And when you add up those points, the criteria you set up, get a total within the top 3 dogs will be what you're going to want to bring back in your breeding program, because you know they're going to bring those traits back through. So it kind of makes it really easy, black and white, on what you're going to bring through your breeding. You know, so yeah. I've really learned a lot. I really like that.
Valerie says Ziva does really good article discrimination and retrieve by name. Pretty awesome task. I haven't talked tonight for potential service dog. Cool that you listed that. I can send you a video tomorrow, she says. So, and
I think she's going to be surprised. See, Ziva's probably about 8 months now. Bram lines tend to really bust out about 12 to 15 months. I think she's going to be shocked when they get about 12 to 15 months, she may have she could have a nice little monster there. I think she's going to be really surprised. They change. They tend to be a little bit, when they come out, their strong genetics come out about 12 to 15 months. And a good friend of mine, Chris Smith, has some of those lines, and he also has his dog Dodo, just a dog he brought in from Europe, phenomenal lines.
Chris Smith, that's who we were talking about. That's
Chris
just
Smith
amazing.
was in our silver school, and
Yeah.
he's a military officer, and so he had to go just a little bit later than us on the gold school.
What's up, Joni? Joni's with us.
But Chris he's my go-to guy on any of this. When we talk to in class, and if you talk to Jackie and Bart, and they tell you need a good 4 or 5 years in the system till you're really strong in the system. You really understand it. I think Chris cut that by 3 years for me, just the things that he was so far in it before he even got into school because of his background and who he had trained with and stuff.
Well, and I think that, even with pet dogs too, and that's what we were talking about. I can't remember who said this at first, but I've adopted it myself. Like in the pet world, it's been famously termed that we get pets to stop. In the working world, we get them to go, go, go. Right. That's and right. So, and Bart, whenever I talk to him, and I talk to him often, he's one of my mentors, one of my dear. I'm just so grateful for him and what he's taught me, and I'm grateful for Michael. I'm grateful for Jackie. I'm grateful for you, and just our whole network of people that we have put together. And as we continue to grow, it's like a brain trust, and the NAPOPO provides a framework that even in the pet dog world, not only does it provide an opportunity for us to intermingle, right, with the working dog folk, pet dog folk, right, but also, we come together and we kind of figure out stuff, and we're encouraged to make this system our own and to experiment with it and to see what we learn based on the observation, and that's all really we can do, and that's what you're learning with observing these dogs and what they're doing. We're not doing anything. We can't really. They're 5 weeks old. They're little puppies.
Right.
And, people working in the pet world and seeing these dogs and seeing them get all these excuses of, oh, he must have been beat or, and I'm like, no, that's just bad breeding. That's just how they are from the day. I walk into that room, and then some of these dogs are like, they're running around. They're little itty bitty puppies, and that's just the way they are,
Bart said in our class that I heard it, I didn't heed it, but I do now, is that when he starts every class, I don't care if it's silver or gold, he always tells you that 90% of dog training is socialization. And I saw that. I've had the litter that I had out there did not get that kind of socialization. When I say socialization, I'm not talking about going to a dog park. I'm talking about environmental socialization, taking them out to escalators, elevators, stores, yards, no matter what.
Buses, skateboards, scooters.
Correct. Let them see everything. Well, I had a second litter come in after that one, and I personally made sure that every other day, and he wanted it every other day instead of every day, but I made sure that these dogs up to 16 weeks, when they're really forming all that they get that. I mean, every day in the training place, I've got Spookless. It's got off YouTube. It's got 53 sound videos. They just loop. You hear everything. It was made for police horses. So they hear every sound you can think of. They'd hear on the street or anything that would, fireworks, doorbells, whatever. I have those playing, and I take them out everywhere. And I saw such a huge difference between this litter and that litter.
Really?
Everything he said about that, I back 110%. You need to do that environmental socialization. It's more important than anything. Up to 16 weeks makes a huge difference in the dogs. This is a smaller litter I have, but these dogs are so strong. It's just unbelievable. Just nothing shakes them. And that was the big difference, them getting out all the time as opposed to the last litter. Last litter has great genetics. They could come around, and the dogs that went out early at 8 weeks, phenomenal. The others, I don't see the same. They're not on the same progress level as this new litter because that was done with them. So that doesn't mean the others can't. They just need some more work to get that done. But it's so important, like Bart says, for those first 16 weeks, get them out and let them get exposed to everything. And it makes all the difference in the world.
Well, and I've seen videos of him doing just that with Ragnar, and they're going across like bridges and, you know, and not only that, but in one video, he's kind of like cautious of this shopping bag. And then 2 minutes later, Ragnar is grabbing that shopping bag and tearing it up. And like, you know, and it's like, let him have fun, you know, and that's
when those formative years, you need that exposure, but you also, a puppy needs to be a puppy, and you need to do some of that. And here in America, we want to create these fucking monsters. We want to have these dogs in the working world, not in the pet world, in the working world. We want to have these monsters. Everyone wants to show they got dogs that will eat your ass at 10 weeks old. And I subscribe to some of that as far as building their drive early. When you get into these higher drive dogs like Malinois and Dutch Shevers things, you don't need to do that. And I got schooled so much by the Dutch people when they would see us shaking some cans with rocks in them, watching these dogs go crazy. I'd get so many phone calls immediately going, "You fucking Americans want to create these goddamn monsters. You don't need that. The drive is there. Control, control, control."
Yes.
Do all of your control first. You know, start with that. Start with the article. Start with, you know, things that are on a lower drive level. And if you don't, and if a lot of people don't understand it, you can train a dog so much better out of drive than in drive. We used to all subscribe to this. Everything's got to be in drive, pre-drive, going. That's not the way to do it. They get higher and higher, and you're going to build something you can't control. And I've learned a lot from them to calm down. I've learned a lot on the Nepo Post system. I was the worst cheerleader of anybody. I had to help my dogs no matter what. You know, if they didn't do it really quickly, I would go show them how to do it and then sit back and say, "Do it." "Oh, you did it." You know, they didn't do it. I showed them how to do the damn thing.
That's right.
I've gotten to where I'm hands off. I'm quiet. I don't say a word. I let the operant do its job, and it builds such a good dog. It's just, it's so different. You know, a dog is not.
Let the dog be the artist.
Let the dog do it.
You know, let the dog find its way. Let the dog do. That's what Bart says. Bart's like, Bill, let the dog do, Bill.
You would say the same thing to me in Gold School when I had my dog out there. You ain't no confidence in your damn dog. What do you do? And the dog did. The dog actually did more than I did, and he would sure enough do it. You know, when he was told to do it, and you know, it was just me kind of. I had to step back, and you know, you really want to be in there and cheerlead and help them move them forward, but you're just doing them a disservice. If you let them do it, they're going to learn so much better and so much faster. And you're building a thinking dog. You know, the more you do that, the longer you do operate in your training program, which has been a little bit difficult for me. And I've learned a lot from Chris Smith in that, just looking at his dog and the results of his dog. He's got this dog Ghost. I love this dog. But watching how much pressure that dog can take, and watching how much that dog has developed at a year old, and he really hadn't classically named a damn behavior yet. He just did everything operantly. And this dog is so damn sharp, you would not believe. It's so confident. Matter of fact, he may have built a dog so strong, he may have trouble in the future. The dog is that strong.
Alibaba dog.
Oh my God, this dog is just wonderful. But he's really, you know, just watching his dog, and they always say the proof's in the pudding. And you watch someone like that, and you know, for a long time there, I thought I really had a great ground game for bringing puppies along in bite work and things like that. And I'm sorry for the people who are in the pet that I'm kind of moving into the working dog world, but that's kind of where I've been most of my life. But I really thought I had a really good technique for working puppies and bringing them along as youngsters and teaching them correct bite structure, et cetera, like that. And then I watched Chris Smith one day. He came into my training facility. Didn't even know I knew him. He was in my silver class, but I never spoke to him there. And then someone said, "Well, he was in your damn silver class." I said, "You're kidding." And they brought him over, and he came over, and I watched him work the puppies. And I dropped everything I ever learned and did and changed it the way he did it. It was so calm, so quiet, so no emotion. And I watched these dogs; they just moved so perfectly. You know, the guy has got a gift in it, and it's good for me that I've got an open mind. If I find something that's much better than me or that I do, I'm jumping on it right then.
Me too.
I want the best for my dogs. I want to, I want to be able to do the best I can and make them be the best they can. And when I watched him, changed everything I did. He just has a great way about him, the way he does it. And the biggest thing was he does absolutely no cheerleading. Completely quiet, completely calm. I don't care if me, I get kind of emotional and sometimes I get kind of pissed off and stuff. And I go back and watch some of the things I do and then watch the way he did it. And he just no emotion. And it makes such better training when you have no emotion. It's nothing special. Just let the dog do what the dog does. And I just learned a lot from him, and I changed completely the way I do things when I saw that.
I definitely want to get him on one of these
live
streams.
He's so good.
He was at our silver school. I was there too. So
yeah, he was, and he went to gold school, and he trained in Germany for a long time. And guy is phenomenal. His wife came over and trained with me not too long ago. I thought she was a gold grad. She's phenomenal.
That's right.
Her name's Jen. You're great.
Let me see. I'm gonna catch up.
She brought up and talked about, blew me away. Just another great trainer. So he's got a great duo there, him and her.
Valerie says she's growing every day talking about her dog. I wanted Ziva because I love Chris's dog in my gold school. The dogs are so engaged.
And well, Valerie, they do have some of the same backgrounds. And there's my friend Paige. She's one of the best trainers I know.
She's getting a fever. Might have to get off the rock and train a dog. Get off the rock.
I want her to come back and compete. She's just such a great competitor. And
is that the one that is down in the Keys?
Yeah, she's
there. You go. We were just talking about
living a good life, but I said, get back up here with us. With her. She's so fun. Just what a great person. I love her.
We meet so many great people in the dog training world. That's one of the reasons why I do these live streams, is just to talk see people. Just talk, because it would just be a fly on the wall. We have the available technology in order to capture this.
Great nowadays. They've got access to so many tools and so many people. I was watching, you shared a Larry Crone live about a week ago, and I was sitting there listening to it. And I hope everybody, I wish I could put it up here. I wish everybody could go back and listen to it, because he explains a dog is a dog. You got to treat a dog like a dog. It's not a pet. But I mean, there was a lot of other great stuff in that, but he made a really big point that, once you forget about treating a dog like it's your baby, and give it structure and give it purpose, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yes.
And he's a really sharp guy. And all these youngsters coming up have access to all these people and all these tools. And I'm really lucky. I've trained under some of the greats in my lifetime. And right now I compete in the American Quality Home Association, which is APA, and it's basically an American version of KMPV. And I've got such great mentors and help in the Netherlands. They want us to succeed here in this program. People like these judges, Petra Vandalen, Franz Kosner, Kees Plank, and all of them. They're a phone call away, and they'll be watching videos from my training, and they'll immediately send me a message. Hey, why did you do this? They keep you thinking, but these people love to help people learn this stuff. And I've been blessed to have people like that in my life. And a lot of local people here. Rick Wolterbeek is a Dutch guy that's here, that's in the APA board. He's also over our decoys here. Mark Leamer. There's just so many in the working dog world that I can't thank enough. I learn every day. And as I said, I'm getting older, so I don't have to make my bones anymore. I'm enjoying it. I just apply to my training.
Cool. Well, and Jessica wants to know, what is a typical outing for you? And I'm assuming when you were talking about the puppies, when you were taking them out to get them socialized, what we were talking about. What's a typical outing?
We typically, because of the way I set up my van, we took 4 puppies at a time. And we typically go for, it would usually take us an hour, but we would alternate those puppies. We had 2 people, each with a puppy, and we'd take them out for about 10 minutes each time. If I went to Tractor Supply, we'd go in through the sliding doors, we'd go through it, go on the outside to where all their things are stored, let them climb on pallets, climb on, grass seed, whatever they had out there. Then we'd bring them back in, take the next 2 out and rotate them. I mean, we could be done at any place in 30 minutes. We'd probably have 10 minutes, out with the dog. Then we'd take them to, I love to have them go to school when they're dropping off kids at the bus stop and stuff at school. So they have all that clatter, all that scream and everything going on. A lot of vehicles and things like that. We'd take them to, like Home Depot, mall, things like that. But it's not that you need to, it's not going to the same place. You need to see a variety of things. The most noises you can have, I would take them over to the baseball field where all the kids would go and practice baseball. You hear them all screaming, hear balls clanging on a bat, just different noises, different things like that. Any place that you could think of taking the dog, take it. I was a big thing. The dog that I'm keeping for myself, I took it everywhere with me. It may not get out of the car each time I stop, but it was in that car with me all the time. I'd put it in the kennel, get out, do my thing. And where I could take it out, I'd take it out a few minutes at a time. But it's just getting that exposure, especially up to 16 weeks. That's when that's their formative time when they hear all these things. That's why I
4 months.
The Scootless videos, you can get them on YouTube. They were made I think in Europe for police horses. Everything they could hear, from traffic to fireworks to thunder and lightning to doorbells, you name it. And it's about 53 videos, about a minute long each, that loop. So you can just bring that up on your YouTube, play it whenever you have a litter of puppies. Play it on a TV, play it on your phone, whatever. Get one of them Bluetooth speakers you can set out there. It makes a world of difference. I start my dogs on it at 3 weeks old. I have it in there quietly. 4 weeks, a little louder. 5 weeks, a lot louder. 6 weeks, it's real loud in my training room because they're in there all the time. I start charging the clicker at 3 weeks old. As soon as that mother weans them, I start bringing in, my little pans of mush. Before that mush goes down, click, click, click.
Yeah, me too.
Then all of a sudden, when I come in, they hear that I'm running. Matter of fact, one of my friends actually had the ability. I didn't have that ability, but he pulled the female out. Whenever she would go into feed, he would click before he let her into feed. Started even earlier with her feeding them like that. I just didn't have that luxury. But when I started feeding them the mush, then yeah, I did it every time. Not a doubt. And at 5 weeks old, those dogs were charged on the clicker. I could call them off of anything, no matter what they were doing, just from those 2 weeks.
Valerie says, capturing everything we want in chunks and puppy shaping games makes happy, safe, super functional dogs with confidence. My Dane came up that way, balls of steel and stable. I love watching Chris work. And that's what I love about Ivan too, is that focus of the play aspect.
Yeah, it does. And you know what? I've been really lucky that I can go out to Jackie's usually when I want. I consider them very good friends of mine. Her whole family, just lovely people.
Yeah.
But the last time I went out, we had another class, so I couldn't interfere. But I got to go in like Michael trains at like 5:30, 6 in the morning, and Bart trains at like
after she runs like 10 miles, and
then Bart trains at like 5:30, 6 in the evening. So I spent those times. I'd go in there with her training each morning to watch her train some younger dogs and stuff. And it changed the way I train my younger dogs too. She really makes everything a game with the puppies, even though she's got a purpose and a plan for what she's doing. It may be to get her retrieved, to get her recalled back to her. She does everything with a game. You find something the dog really likes, whether it be a tug, whether it be
I love watching
her ball, whatever. But she uses those things and uses games. And I find that when I play with my puppies now in games, it makes a world of difference. And than me just trying to do something else. And of course, Bart trains. When I was working with Bart out there, he was training Ragnar and a couple other dogs. That's a whole different level of training. But watching his technique and some of the things he was doing gave me some just wonderful ideas and things I was doing. He just what a bastard both of them are. And just and
He can say,
and work her dog in PSA
oh,
and other things, and she's just phenomenal.
Jackie's dog is one of my favorite dogs.
Yeah, I love that dog. Yeah,
Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey is such a good dog. And
Yeah. Well, Mark Connolly says uses Spooky Horse all the time in training.
yeah,
And that's what we were talking about. But it's also, I mean, Rachel says no emotion in dog training. Michael says,
and that's been a hard thing for me. And
because we love them, man. We love them.
Yeah, it makes a lot of difference, and I'm getting better at it. But I still struggle sometimes. You get frustrated, and I've been training in a certain way for a long time, but I'm getting a lot better at it now, and I'm seeing much better results.
So to an up and coming new trainer, that's why I always recommend them getting into NAPOPO right away, because they're all like, man, you're a veteran. This is like something that I hope to achieve someday. And I'm like, dude, if I were you, I would focus on this first.
That's a good point.
And what do you think, dude?
I think it's a huge point and a great point, because you have people like me, old codgers, you have middle-aged people and younger people that come in there that have already done a lot of other training. So they've got some preconceived notions of how they want to do things. I've got a pretty open mind, so I can kind of work around that. Some people don't. Some people think my way's the best. It's the only way. This might help me. It might not.
Of course.
But that will hold them back a little bit. But then you got, a person like Piotr, one of the Gold School graduates, and you'll see him online, that came in there without a background, and it's probably one of the purest I've seen in NAPOPO. Just phenomenal. And I think
I wish I had this
with a bunch of preconceived notions and ideas, and the guy is just breaking barriers. He's just phenomenal. I watch his videos and find ideas for my dogs all the time. He's just phenomenal. I can't say enough about him.
Yeah, anybody that's listening, especially if you've been through NAPOPO Gold and Silver schools, comment below, like, if you're with me, that I wish, as my personal observations and experience, that I wish I had this knowledge base from the very start of my training career, man.
It really bugs me, because I'm towards the end of my career. I'm into my competing and trying to enjoy life now. And if I would have known this when I was young like you, my God, I could have set the world on fire. There's just so many things I could have done, and you guys have that now. So you're the future. I'm handing the torches off to you youngsters like you and Adrian and Chris and Jake Nolte, another gifted trainer.
I love Jake. I want to get him one of my dogs.
He is so good.
He's going to have one of my dogs. Michael says he wish he had NAPOPO in the beginning.
Yep. You guys, you youngsters, you're on the future of this now. So it's going to be your responsibility to bring a lot of these youngsters up that are getting new. And they don't have to be youngsters, but they don't know this. Bring them in and let them know, here's something you could do. This system will change your life, and it'll change what you can do. I don't care what you can use this and apply it to it. It's you don't have to drop everything. That's a big misconception I see in a lot of these things going on social media. They think if you're a NAPOPO, you have to be NAPOPO. No, it's a foundation. You're the architect.
Framework. It's a framework. Yeah.
You don't have to forget anything you've learned. You can apply this to everything you've learned.
It makes everything you've learned. It makes it make more sense, and why
you want it to.
Right, and why it might not work this way or with some dogs, and why this works with other dogs, and man, it was like communism, predictable, rewards, all that stuff that they teach you, and it's.
I was just working that the other day with my puppies. I put them on a flex pole, and I was doing a little exercise that Chris showed me, and I had things that apply to what I'm doing to KMVV. I had a KMVV box there. I had a clack board. I had the feeding box there, and I had, I think, a tunnel there. And I'm having the dog go around, and I'm doing everything operantly. I'm not saying a word. I'm sitting there. I want him to go and do different things on each of those. I click reward. He comes back to me. That means release from behavior. When I click, you've done what I wanted. I mark it, come back, get paid. So I'm doing this, and then I start saying, okay, I'm getting way too communistic. So I saw them get really happy on the clack board. They love that because it's a dopamine generator. They hit it, and it's like their own clicker. They made their own click.
Yeah.
So what I did, I started clicking early when they go to it. And you could see the frustration on the dog. He's going, God damn it, I'm going to get there faster next time before he clicks. And sure enough, they go back even faster. So it builds speed when you vary that reward and the timing of it. You know, it really, you can frustrate the dog and get speed out of them. These are some things that we learn, and like you learned.
Yeah.
Gasoline, man. It creates that gasoline, that ignition, you know, to really get the dog moving. And I just loved watching it work, though, with these puppies. When I clicked early, you could see them pissed off. They came back and said, God damn it, I'll take it. And I only gave them one kibble. And they ran like and stomped on it, and they came back and got a jackpot. So, you know, that just, they knew, hey, that's what I need to do. So,
dude, and that in itself is just so entertaining to watch them be like, and then I like to I hear like Bart's little voices, you know, and just kind of pay me mofo,
yeah, exactly.
You know.
Pay me.
Valerie says Piotr, oh my God, Piotr, I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. Piotr is absolutely beautiful. Working with highlighted my trip. I'm glad you got to work with him. And if you haven't worked with him, go on his Facebook page and watch his videos.
Piotr.
He just, the things he does, and if you watch his dogs, the proof's in the pudding.
That's right.
What he does. And he puts a lot out there of different training methods that he does to get these. I love one with his position box between two gates. So they have to go through it, have to turn around, get in position, and come back. I use that myself with my puppies now, and I love that. I love watching him. The guy's really gifted. You got people like Justin Rigney, very gifted guy, and he puts a lot out on Facebook. You know, if you want to go and watch the videos, he does a lot of great technical explanations, which a lot of people don't do, and that will help you, you know, understand a lot too. We've got a lot of great people out there that are doing this stuff, and I watch all of them. I steal ideas. I'm the biggest thief in the world when it comes to dog training ideas. I'll steal it from you. If it's good, I'm going to steal it from you. Now, I will give you credit, but I'm going to steal it from you.
Which is okay, because at the end of the day, we're all in this to benefit dogs, right?
Exactly. I want my dog to be the best it can be. That's what I've got left. I'm competing, and I want my dog to have the best chances of being the best he can be. And I don't mind when people look at my videos where I went to a mock trial or done this, and I get messages from the Netherlands all the time. You know, you really screwed this up. You need to do this. You weren't positioned in this way. You weren't positioned that way. That makes me better. I love critique to come back to me and say, because that's points I'm losing because I'm not doing it the correct way. So I love it. And I'm getting a lot of feedback, and it really helps me. And I just enjoy. Competition for me is just a big adrenaline rush. And it seems like the higher my adrenaline goes, the higher my dogs does, and we do really well on adrenaline. So
little feedback loop there.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, well, it's also, I think that we can learn in the pet dog world, dude. You know, what I've learned so much is, like, don't squash that behavior. Channel it.
Yeah.
No, that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned, and to start to apply the Napopo in my own way is the dog is trying to invent this and trying to show that it has it's got intention. It wants to figure stuff out, right?
Yeah.
And that it's smart, and that it needs to be challenged, and you know,
that's why we reward successive approximation. Just
that's right.
Steps towards what you want. And like you said, I don't squash something. If I don't like it, it's not something I want, I just ignore it. But I'm not going to squash it because they're thinking about it. They're doing something. You know, their mind is thinking. You're creating a thinking dog when you have them offering all these spontaneous behaviors. That's what we want. We want them to offer these things, and then the behaviors we want, we reinforce. Great, that's what we want. The ones we don't, you don't have to squash it. You just ignore it and, you know, wait for something that you want. It may not be what you want for what you're doing, but it doesn't mean it's bad behavior. The dog thought about it. He's still sitting there thinking. So, you know, you don't have to squash him.
Well, and when you go, then that squash I mean, that influence goes with you. You know what I'm saying? If we structure the environment where the dog, I mean, if we wanted behavior to stop, then we have aversive and stuff like that. But it's always been just like you were saying, you're yank and crank back in the day, and just like the dog needs to understand without a shadow of a doubt, who the boss is and all that stuff. But what I've learned is that sometimes we want our dog to be a little hoodlum.
Exactly. I love a hoodlum. I love a thief to come and steal my food out of my bag. I want him to push me, want him to bump me. I push for that in the working dog world. I want that. I want him to be kind of a hoodlum. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
and I have one of my dogs, the dog I put through Napopo, Pecan, man, she's something else, dude. And I will have I'll just hold up a treat as far or up to my shoulder level, dude. And she'll run up my whole body and grab that sucker, and she'll do it 30 times until she gets it, man. And all the other dogs are like, what the hell's going on, man? And she just has this tenacity. And I mean, but it's like, but she loves life too, and that's the beauty of it is, the relationship, it becomes more of that companion relationship, but it's also, we're still in control, just like what John was talking about, how Chris might be making a Alibaba dog. You got to be careful with some of this stuff, and you definitely have cues when the shit is done, when we're done operantly exploring, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise the pushy dog can become a little bit too pushy, a little bit too tough. And
I have to say he's actually working a good balance, but his dog at a year old is one of the strongest dogs I've seen at a year old. I have to say that. And I mean that as a huge compliment. It's one of the strongest dogs I've seen at a year old, and still happy. The dog's happy. When I come out and do this, and we're going to have a damn blast at it. That's his attitude every time, and I love that. I love this dog. Very, very good dog.
Well, and even with the pet dog world too. Oh man, I use Napopo for the calming stuff too, and just get these dogs to calm down and get them to calm themselves down, and the routine, and do you know what else is really cool about Napopo that we can borrow in the pet dog world? Circuit training.
Yes.
Explain what circuit training is to people.
Circuit training is going through a series of exercises in a short amount of time. And there's a really good video that I think Jackie has out of one of the Gold School students doing a circuit training, and he's actually they're going through treadmill, they're going through
skateboard,
going under a box, going over a box, going through a tunnel, just a series of events that's a circuit that works the dog out, but also works his mind. It's not just physical, it's actually a mental thing too. And great program. Yeah,
and it's quick. I mean, especially if you have multiple dogs too. You spend a little time in each little circuit, and then you go around. And we would do that in Napopo, and Bart would call that jamming. And we'd all be there because we'd all be there working our dogs together on different parts of that circuit, and then transitioning along as each one of us switched. And then we would have dogs waiting on the pedestals. And it was just very cool, man. And I remember being in there with him and him seeing, look at all this activity that's going on right here.
10 dogs out at a time doing that. 10 dogs at a time.
10 working dogs too, man.
10 working dogs doing that at a time.
And not a peep.
Nope. Everyone doing what they needed to do.
Yeah. And it was pretty cool to see. And something that I definitely recommend. And how many are you having more litters? What's going on with the breeding?
Yeah, I'm going to Dulles Airport and picking up a new female that's pregnant Monday. She flies in at 2, and she was a PH1 female that's out of, I think, Duco Berry 2. She's bred to a Big Roy son, PH2 Harold. Super nice. It's a harder breeding. But they did the ultrasound in the Netherlands. They said it looks like 8 to 10 pups. So be picking her up Monday. She'll probably have them towards the end of December. So
I love breeding dogs, dude.
I love raising the dogs. I got a lot people who are a lot better than me at breeding, so I let them do the breeding, and I take care of raising them.
So you whelp them and everything, or are you going
yeah,
to
I
C-section her?
whelp them. They come to my house. I whelp the
Okay.
litter, and I start them at Nepopo at 3 weeks old.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that as trainers, we miss that 2-month window. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
We get these dogs.
Important window.
Right. Well, that's that. I mean, we're halfway through that formative years that you're talking about.
Yes.
What you drinking there, John?
This is a Sterling Vintners Meritage. I love Meritage. They're one of my favorites. A blend of 5 grapes. Never too sweet, never too dry.
Cool. So you like a dark red?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You like a wine that you got to chew on before you.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
I did fine dining for a while and took a lot in the wine department. And
I learned from one of my favorite restaurants, from their wine people at that restaurant. They taught me everything I know about wines. So,
I mean, it's just like anything, man. You can take your knowledge base to as deep as you want and get as nuanced as you want too. You know, always open to constructive criticism.
absolutely.
Rachel says.
Absolutely.
Yep. And know that, you know, I mean, there's a way to criticize people too. And there's a way that, because especially if there is a way of doing things like within the sport, right? And if there's a way to easily fix this, right? Then, but there's also a time, and especially in the pet dog world, where you got to wait till somebody asks you. Otherwise, they're going to come unglued, dude, if you try to criticize their fur baby.
Yeah, yes. That's a delicate line you got to walk, because we also have pet dogs here too. And thank God they're handled by Kurt, not me. He has to walk that fine line, but you're right. Some people do not do well with constructive criticism, and you really have to have good people skills to kind of push that forth. That's why I think every pet dog person should watch that video of Larry Crone before you talk to him, and maybe it would kind of enlighten them or open their eyes. He's very good at explaining why you have to explain these things to fur babies, fur baby mommies and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I think he's really good at it, and he doesn't sound like an asshole when he's explaining it. And it's probably a good video to show clients, with him. He's got some really good points he makes, and shows proof of why things work and don't work with his clients. So he's a pretty good dude. I like him.
Yeah, steal from Larry if you need to.
Oh, absolutely, I do. I have for a long time.
Me too. I do too. But give credit where credit is due, and mention your mentors. I love and appreciate Michael and Bart Bellin. I'm a big fan of Tony Anchetta even. I mean, he taught me the Keeler method a while ago. And there's so many different pearls that you learn from every.
I'm a big fan of Mike Suttle. I'm gonna love him. Great dude. He's just got some great seminars. Great people. I've got some of his dogs. Really good. He's super breeder of the Dutch Shepherd lines. Gosh, there's just so many that I love Ivan. Like you said, I love his games he plays with people and with his dogs, and how he has that relationship to get some things working.
I often compare the relationship of like a teammate with trying to make a teammate better, right? And trying to or playing basketball or something and razzing or juking somebody and then just be like, haha.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so it makes sense to me. Excuse me.
Yeah, I saw your last one with Gail Lucy, and great interview. I like her. Great.
Oh, Lucy? No, I did that a while ago.
Yeah.
That one I did, but I did one recently. Who did I just do one with? Jennifer Hack.
Yep, I saw Jennifer Hack too.
Yep. She's a great one.
Was it Mia? I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry, Mia.
Oh, Misha.
Misha.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, you got to come to one of those IACP conferences. Oh, look at I'm
Yeah.
wearing one of the. That's where we go all hang out there, and whenever the world gets back to its old normal self, when we can actually intermingle.
Absolutely.
Together.
Yeah, let me know what the next one is. I'll make sure I get out there.
Yeah, I definitely will. So how do people get a hold of you, and if they're interested in getting a pup from you, or they want to come out and maybe do some training with you, what do they have to do?
They can message me on Facebook. I'm on there. It's a messenger. I don't know how to put up my phone number, but you can always get me on my phone too. I've always got it with me. Does it come up if I put it on chat?
Yeah. I can put it up for you or whatever, or we can. I'll write it on the bathroom wall next time I'm in a truck stop there for you, buddy, for a good time.
There you go. Okay, I just put it up on chat to you, so you can put that up. They can always reach me on my phone.
We're over here.
Yeah, I just put it on chat. You can put that up on the screen if you can do that.
We're here. Let me see if I can see.
757
I'll just put it on here. Tell me what it is.
757
757
589
589
2212
2212. Okay, look at this, dude, and I'll have it even scroll. Watch this. Maybe ticker show.
Cool.
Hey!
Text me, call me, or
oh wait, hold on. Let me do this too. Wait. Let me do this one for. Here we go. Now let me do it. Ready? And for a good time, call.
There you go.
Call my buddy John.
Appreciate that, Bill.
You're very welcome. And I'm sure even if you don't live by him, like I've been having a lot of fun doing these Zoom calls with some clients.
Yeah.
With other dog training professionals, even if they're not a trainer necessarily. And so we can get a lot of communicated and accomplished over the internet with all this newfangled technology. Who do you have there?
This is Ronan. He's PH1 Ronan. He's my competition dog. We're getting ready to test for the PH2. And he's about a 92-pound black Malinois.
Is that the one you had at the school there?
Yes, he's the one I had at the school. Yeah,
big boy.
Just a sweet boy. I love him. Best dog I ever had. Bred by Keith Plank at Keppa Kennels in the Netherlands, and I can't say enough about him. He knows when it's time to work and when it's time to play. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love watching you work him and just finding out the different nuances of these sports and stuff. And then I also love meeting Jake's dog.
Jake is just
the black dude. What was his name? Not Thor. Was it Thor? No.
No. Yeah, his police dog. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. God,
dude, remember when he rolled over? When Victor, were you there when Victor rolled over on him, dude? And the dog I was just like, man, what is this?
A couple times. He is a hard biting dog.
It's just so fun, man, to watch these dogs in their elements doing what they do.
Yeah.
And then to work with the best in the world.
Absolutely. And Jake's, I think, is Jake out? Is he
South Dakota, I think? Or?
Yeah, he's somewhere in Omaha or is it Nebraska? I'll have to look.
Iowa? I don't know. Sioux City.
Sioux City, Iowa. Okay, but if anyone's out that way, Jake Nolte, you need to get him. The guy is phenomenal.
He's awesome.
Phenomenal.
Dude, in Silver School, that guy was like a little mouse. We didn't even hear him at all. And then in Gold School, I couldn't freaking. I was crying. I was crying.
So fun for me. Sometimes it's just so funny. What a great guy, and just a good serious trainer. Got some great dogs, and
let the dogs show you the people who you need to work with, folks.
There you go.
Because people can market all day long and they can make themselves look good, and their dogs look like shit, smell like shit, and
exactly
are as flat as can be. Get the dogs with the heart and soul.
There you go.
If you need any help, let me know. Or if you for a good time.
Oh, no.
All right, John. Well, I'm gonna let's say goodbye to everybody here, but hold on, and I'll say goodbye to you on the video. Okay.
Thanks,
But
everybody. See ya.
take care, everybody. Thanks for joining us.